Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Your Access Africa, I would like to warmly welcome you to today's webinar dedicated to Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions on one of the European Union flagship programs supporting research mobility, career development, and international research collaboration. We are delighted to see much strong interest from researchers and innovators across the African continent. Today, we are pleased to have with us two distinguished speakers, May Bakr, Regional Representative for Euraccess Africa, who will introduce Euraccess services and opportunities available to researchers and innovators across the African continent, and Christina Gomez, the coordinator of the Euraccess Worldwide Network, who will present the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Postdoctoral Fellowships, including the participation modalities, eligibility conditions, and practical guidance for prospective applicants. We encourage you to actively participate in our Q&A session. Thank you for joining us today, and I wish you an informative and inspiring webinar. So let's begin with Dr. May. Dr. May, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. So I'll start by sharing my screen. So is it fine?
Yes.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is May Bakr, and I'm pleased to briefly introduce Euraccess Africa and walk through the services we provide, and most importantly, how research institutions can stay connected with us and benefit from our opportunities. So Euraccess Worldwide is an initiative supported by the European Commission since 2013. Its purpose is to connect researchers around the world with opportunities in Europe and beyond. So through Euraccess, you can access information on funding, mobility, career development, and networking. So you can think of it as an all-in-one leading networking and information platform. Euraccess is also built on the fundamental principle that free movement of researchers and ideas is what actually propels scientific progress. So Euraccess is a global network. We have a team of 18 dedicated representatives across 9 hubs around the world. They are working together to bring European research opportunities closer to the local research communities. And Euraccess Africa is one of these worldwide hubs, and it was launched to strengthen the research, innovation, and collaboration between Africa and Europe. Euraccess Africa was launched in 2022 and is represented by Dr. Ahmed Malil, who is based in Tunisia, Dr. Yidelfana Mikonnen, who is based in Ethiopia, and myself, May Bakr, who is based in Egypt. And we work across the continent to support African researchers and help make European research opportunities more visible and accessible. So we provide free access to information about research in Europe, funding opportunities, mobility schemes, and networking. We also provide practical guidance for researchers who want to develop their careers in Europe or collaborate with European partners. And the important point is that all Euraccess services are free of charge, and the network is open to all nationalities, disciplines, and career stages. You can engage, or we engage with the research community here through several channels. We have our official website, our social media, flash notes, newsletters, and also through information sessions that we organize and practical workshops. So our community now is comprised of over 22K email subscribers and over 21K followers on social media. So one easy way to stay informed with us is to subscribe to the Euraccess Africa updates, and this would allow you as a researcher or institution to receive reliable and up-to-date information on EU funding, mobility, webinars, and research opportunities directly by email. So I'm going to keep here the QR code throughout the next few slides as well, if you wish to scan that. So you can, of course, visit our official Euraccess website, and this is where you can access the specific Euraccess Worldwide hubs. So if you go here to Network and select Euraccess Worldwide, it's going to guide you through the 9 worldwide hubs. So at Euraccess Worldwide Africa here, you can find all the information that is relevant to the Africa research community. So if you select your Access Africa, you will be guided to our webpage here. So again, you can choose to sign up for the free membership to your Access Africa. You can read about our recent news and events, or you can select to search for jobs and opportunities. And if you do that, you will be guided to this page where you can search for PhD positions, postdoctoral opportunities, research jobs, and hosting offers. So it's especially useful for early career researchers who are looking for their next academic move. So for example, here I searched for a postdoc opportunity in computational neuroscience. The platform also allows users to filter these opportunities by offer type, country, research field, research profile, sector, etc. In addition to the website, I strongly encourage you to follow Euraccess Africa on LinkedIn. It's another easy way to stay updated because we regularly post funding calls, fellowships, deadlines, webinars, events that are relevant to African research institutions. We're also active beyond the online communication. We have engaged with researchers and institutions through physical events, which were held across 15 plus African countries to date. In April, for example, last April, Euraccess Africa, we participated in GITEX Africa 2026, where we engaged with researchers, innovators, and startups across Africa. Another recent event that took place last month was the Horizon Europe Information Session and Grant Writing Workshop at Debre Berhan University in Ethiopia that supported over 200 researchers and institutional stakeholders with practical guidance on EU funding mobility opportunities. So also we organize regular online events covering Horizon Europe, Africa, and Mediterranean initiatives, the MSCA and ERC info sessions. In 2026 alone, more than 14 plus webinars were planned in both English and French, involving experts, fellows, NCPs, EU delegations, and research partners. So of course, our aim here is not only to announce these opportunities, but also to help researchers understand how to practically make the best use of them. So a brief overview of the Marie Curie actions here, or MSCA, which fall under Pillar 1, Excellent Science in Horizon Europe. MSCA is a research and training program with a budget of 6.6 billion euros. Its main goal is to support research mobility, training, and career development across countries, sectors, and disciplines. So the program here has several actions. The first is the Doctoral Networks that supports PhD training programs, including the joint and industrial doctorates, the Postdoctoral Fellowships that support excellent researchers after their PhD, the staff exchanges that support the short-term mobility and collaboration between institutions, the COFUND that supports doctoral and postdoctoral programs, and finally the MSCA and Citizens, which focus on public outreach and bringing the research closer to society. So overall, the MSCA is open to all research fields and researchers of any nationalities, and it strongly encourages international cooperation. So here are some highlights of the impact of the MSCA program over the past 30 years. MSCA has funded over 150,000 researchers and has involved over 130 countries, which shows its strong international reach. It also supports collaboration beyond academia with more than 9,500 companies taking part. Another important point is the inclusiveness and global participation. There are around 42% of MSCA supported researchers who are females and 40% who come from outside the European Union. And finally, the program has supported excellent science at the highest level with 23 Nobel Prize laureates among the MSCA beneficiaries. So to conclude, I really encourage you to join the Euraccess research and innovation community. Stay connected with us through our social media platforms because we are here to support you. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks a lot, May, for this nice presentation about Euraccess Africa services. So without further ado, we give the floor now to our dear Cristina Gomez. So Cristina, the floor is yours. Please go ahead to present your MSCA opportunities and MSCA postdoctoral fellowship.
Thank you very much, Ahmed and Mai. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. I was very happy to see when you actually show a screenshot of these hosting offers at the Euraxis website. And this is something that I will comment on at the end of my presentation as well. I was very happy to see one Spanish center actually, which is from my hometown, from the Basque Country, that is on cognition and language. So it's good that this is still, now is the time for you to have a look at all these hosting offers, because the call is open, as you will see right now in my slides. So thank you for the introduction, and let me share my screen. You tell me if it's working properly so that I can start. It's working, right?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So, and I'm just gonna have to ensure that this is somewhere there. Okay. So my name is Cristina Gomez. I am actually the Euraxis Worldwide Coordinator, but I have been previously the national contact point for Spain a good few years ago now. And I'm very happy to present you the Postdoctoral Fellowship, which is without any doubt the most popular call for Horizon Europe. And we just have to see the numbers of application from last year, over 700,000. 17,000. So this year marks the 30 years of funding from MSCA, and the campaign, the promotional campaign, as you can see on the screen, says 30 years of curiosity that changes the world. So what I'm going to try to guide you today is about MSCA with some general information on terminology that is very relevant for you to understand the program. And then we will go into the main features of this open call right now. Let me also show you some statistics from previous call, how it is competitive, but how also the different scientific fields are funded. And also how the proposal work. There's a specific structure that is already available for all of you in a structure template, and that you will have to follow. And finally, some useful resources for you to take into account. So Mai already mentioned that MSCA is under Horizon Europe, which is the funding program from the European Commission that funds for 7 years research and innovation. MSCA falls under the Pillar 1, Excellent Science, so attracting and retaining talent, and we saw the budget for the full 7 years of the program. So this is indeed the World Reference Program for Research and Training. It will fund training, skills, and career development at all stages of the researchers' careers. Today, we will focus on the postdoctoral fellowship, so for people who already have their PhD, but you need to know that you can benefit from MSCA starting doing your PhD to a higher level of seniority. And this is important because this is the core of the program. Development skill, development of career, and training in not only in science, but in scientific skills as well. It is the bottom-up program. It means that it covers all the scientific fields. Obviously, it is aligned with many relevant EU initiatives, the Green Deal, digital science, etc. But it remains bottom-up, so there's no directionality in the program. And as Mai already mentioned, we always talk about the triple-I dimension of MSCA. We talk about internationality because you will have to move countries to develop your project. We talk about interdisciplinarity because, and we see this every day, to really face several challenges, societal challenges, it is important to gather different resources from different disciplines. And we also talk about intersectorality, because even though we are in the pillar for scientific excellence, the interaction and the need to have the industry, the non-academic sector in the projects is very relevant for the researchers to be able to viralize better their research. We talk about a program that has really attractive conditions for their researchers, and it really somehow obliges the institution who will recruit you to ensure that they will provide you with very good employment conditions and training possibilities. So this has really an impact, and not only an impact on individuals who will see that their career research improve, but also in the institutions that really recruit the researchers, and of course in the R&I field that is finance. So when I mentioned that the program is bottom-up, it is absolutely bottom-up, but there is an order. So when you submit your proposal, your postdoctoral fellowship proposal, you will see that you have 8 different scientific panels. You need to choose one of them. Chemistry, social science and humanities, economic science, information science and engineering, environmental and geosciences, life sciences, mathematics, or physics. Then you will be able, upon the submission process, to identify any interdisciplinarity of your project with specific scientific descriptors. But those are the main scientific panels. If we're talking about, for example, fusion science, you can also be funded in some of the Euratom areas. And we will talk about funding, but you need to know that this is funded at 100% in the financial part in unit costs. So this is also very important. So some terminology for you to understand. When you apply for a MSCA project, a postdoctoral fellowship, it will always be the institution who will receive the funds. You will be funded as a researcher, but the funds will not get to you directly. It will go to the institution who will recruit you, the beneficiary of the project. So what is, the word in the eyes of Horizon Europe, the word is distributed in 3 different categories. So the EU member states and the associated countries to Horizon Europe, all these two sectors have the same rights, and you can see it. So we are talking about the 27 member states and the over 20, I think, associated countries to Horizon Europe. And then we have the other third countries, meaning other countries who do not have association agreements that are outside of Europe and can also participate in the project. This is important because, again, it's the institution who will receive the funds. So how does this work? We have institutions who will be beneficiaries, and therefore they will be located in Europe, in member states or associated countries. They will receive the funds and they will recruit you as a researcher in the project. And this is where you will carry out your research activities and your training. And then we have associated partners that are located throughout the world, anywhere in the world, and that will also contribute to the project by you, for example, doing specific secondments, research stays in those institutions for a specific amount of time during the duration of your project. So in this case, normally there are bilateral agreements between the institutions to ensure that the time you spend there is covered. So this is for you to bear in mind. Now, initially, I was talking about the different sectors, and Maggie and I were talking about the different disciplines, sectors, and internationality. This is why there's also a definition of what the sectors are. So we talk about academic sectors, public or private higher institution establishment who normally agree academic degrees, award academic degrees, public or private non-profit research association, and international European research organizations. The rest of institutions where a researcher can easily develop his or her career, meaning a hospital, a public administration, an NGO, a company, a small and medium enterprise company, a large company, a museum, this is perceived as a non-academic sector and defined as a non-academic sector in the MSCA program. So the 2 sectors can be beneficiary, participate in the project, and normally the participation of the non-academic sector is promoted via what I will explain to you, a placement in the project at the end of the duration of the project in Europe. We will come to that a little bit later. So now, what is important about this presentation today? You know, the call is open and it will close on the 9th of September. So you still have time to prepare your idea, find a supervisor in the beneficiary, and prepare your proposal together with that person. So the call was open in April, it will close in September. And just for you to have an idea of the timeline, because this is also important, the results will be notified normally by mid or beginning of February. And then there's a time to sign the grant agreement between the Commission and the beneficiary. This takes normally around 2 to 3 months, dependent. And then the project will start from April 2027 onwards. You can still also have a later start, don't start in April 2027, but start a little bit later. This is something that has to be agreed with your host institution. It's possible. So just for your information in terms of planning the next years ahead. This is the indicative budget, almost 400 million euros. And you can see a separation between the European Fellowship and the Global Fellowship. And I come to that because we have two implementation modes. So there is more funds for the European Fellowship, 300 million. And then for the Global Fellowship, there's around 60 millions for that specific implementation mode. So for some of you who might be in the audience and who were targeting the postdoctoral fellowship before, there are some changes, some novelties compared to the 2025 call. There's an increase in what we call the living allowance, and this is, you will see what, the remuneration for the researchers, and there's been an update of the country correction coefficients. I will explain this when we talk about numbers, about funding, but obviously you can imagine it's not the same thing to carry out a European fellowship in Tunisia, which is associated, for example, to Horizon Europe, than to carry this out, for example, in Norway, that is also associated to Horizon Europe. So the cost of living is different, and this is taken into account. Now, for those of you who tried before but didn't manage, you need to know that the proposals submitted for the 2025 call before need to have at least 80% to be resubmitted this 2026. Okay, these resubmission restrictions come from the fact that there's really a lot of proposals submitting, and there needs to be a cut somewhere. A novelty also for 2026, and this is an important one, is what we call secondments. So secondments are research stays somewhere else in the project, in another institution. Now you can have them for 50% of the duration of your fellowship. This also gives you a lot of flexibility when preparing and when planning your project. So we were talking about two implementation modes, but you have to choose one when you submit your proposal, okay? This is important. So you have to choose among European fellowships and global fellowship. What's the difference in these two implementation modes? So European fellowships are projects that you will be able to implement in a beneficiary in a European or associated country in Europe for between 1 and 2 years. Normally people opt for the 2 years, the full duration. So you can move from any country in the world and you will move to Europe for 2 years. Here, please, again, it's important to remember this, one of the first slides that I mentioned in terms of terminology, what the word looks like for Horizon Europe. For example, in Africa, we have 2 countries that are associated to Horizon Europe. This is Tunisia and this is Egypt. So you can plan a European fellowship in those 2 countries if you wish to do so. Then the global fellowship has a different structure. Let's put it that way. Your project actually will start outside of Europe in what we call a third country, and then you will return to Europe for a final phase of 1 year. So you can spend 1 to 2 years outside of Europe, in Australia, in Argentina, but of course somewhere also in Africa, in Kenya, in South Africa. Do your initial global outgoing phase there, and then return to Europe, okay, for a final 12 months duration. I will also talk about eligibility for these 2 implementation modes. So remember, you have to choose between one of those 2 implementation modes. You cannot submit proposals to the 2 and then let's see if you're lucky with one of them. Just choose one and go for it. There's also, when we talk about MSCA, this is not a specific MSCA, but it's important for you to know that the European Commission establishes also some initiatives to support some of the countries in Europe that are maybe not performing that well in Horizon Europe. So they're trying to support them with specific initiatives. One of them is the European Fellowships. So if you have as a destination a widening countries, I can actually, when I prepare the slides for you to have them, prepare the names of the countries that are widening countries. You have like a second chance, meaning if you're not funded in the MSCA Fellowship call, you can have a second chance by being funded as an ERA fellow, okay? You will also, the only thing you need to know is just include a tick saying that your country of of destination is a wider country, and you're happy to be part of the area of fellowships if no funding is available for you within MSCA. For Euratom, we are talking here about nuclear fusion, and there are specificities. So if this is your case, you also need to be aware of it when you apply. So how does it work? So you've seen already a lot of terminologies, and how does it work? So you have an institution, let's put, for example, in Tunisia, you have an institution that is located in an associated country to Horizon Europe, who will prepare a project with you as a researcher, okay? The idea, therefore, is that this institution, together with you, will recruit you, will supervise you, and will train you. These institutions can be from the academia or the non-academia. It's true that normally it's more universities, research centers who are beneficiaries of MSCA actions, individual or postdoctoral fellowships, but it's possible for the non-academic institutions, for example, to participate as associated countries. Therefore, by hosting secondments or placements at the end of the project in Europe. And then remember that as associated partners, you can have an university in Australia or in South Africa in the outgoing phase of the project if the project is a global fellowship. When we talk about researchers, so I guess many of you in the audience are the researchers who are looking to apply for these postdoctoral fellowships. So you have an idea in mind and you're looking for a host institution in Europe to develop this idea and to carry out these 2 years of research and innovation program. But you also need to know that in that institution that is going to recruit you, you will have a supervisor who will mentor you, who will train you, okay? And who will be actually your contact person in the institution, and you will prepare this proposal with him or her. Then in terms of eligibility, it's important that for the global fellowships, the ones that start outside of Europe, the institutions that it's there outside of Europe provide a letter of commitment when preparing and submitting the proposal to show the commitment that they're taking in this project, as they do not receive any funds. So what is the eligibility criteria for you as a researcher? The first thing is all these criteria are measured at the cut deadline. Okay, this is important. So anything that I will say right now, you need to comply with on the 9th of September 2026. Okay, therefore, at that date, you need to be in the possession of a PhD. You need to have your doctoral degree. You need to have defended your thesis. Okay, this is important. Just so before the call deadline. Then your nationality. There is no restriction whatsoever in terms of nationality for the European fellowships. So anybody from any country in Africa can participate and try to submit a proposal to the PF 2026. For the global fellowship, and I'm not sure, yes, here, for the global fellowship, it's also possible for researchers who are third country researchers to participate, but they need to be long-term residents in Europe, meaning at some point in your research career, you need to have be spending time in Europe, living or studying in Europe, at least 5 consecutive years. If this is your case, you can also apply for the global fellowship. The mobility rule. So we mentioned this is an international program. This is why there is a mobility rule you need to comply with. And it says that, for example, let's say that you want to have a European fellowship in Egypt. You cannot have resided or carry out your main activity in Egypt for more than 12 months in the previous 3 years of the call deadline. Okay? This is for the European fellowships. If you intend, for example, to do a global fellowship in South Africa and then return phase in Spain, for example, the mobility rule applies to the outgoing phase, meaning you cannot have resided or carry out your activity in South Africa for more than a year in the previous 3 years to the cut deadline. Okay, these are the eligibility criteria. So one thing that is important in terms of research experience, you need to have your PhD, but apart from having your PhD, you cannot have more than 8 years of research experience by the call deadline. And we talk about research experience. We are not talking, there's not a restriction on age. This is important, okay? What will be measured is you not having expended more than 8 years doing research. Therefore, there can be exceptions. There can be situations in your life where, for example, you had a paternity or a maternity leave, or you were sick for a long-term sick leave, or you just decided to have a sabbatical year, or you didn't do research after your PhD. So these can be measured, and obviously it will not be counted at research experience. The Commission has established, and the Research Executive Agency that normally is the one that monitors and implements these projects, they have prepared guidelines and self-assessment tools for you to measure if you comply with these eligibility criteria. So again, my advice is to use the instruments that are available for you. Of course, you can contact us if you have any doubts. You can contact the national contact points in the countries that you're intended to go to ensure that you comply with these criteria. But I will say also contact the institutions that you are willing to prepare these projects with, and use these guidelines that are available for you. So again, just to do a quick recap before entering specific parts of the projects. European fellowships open to all nationalities. You comply with the mobility rule, you have your PhD but not more than 8 years of research experience, and you will carry out your project between 1 to 2 years in a beneficiary in Europe. Remember, in terms of Africa, when we talk about beneficiary, both Egypt and Tunisia can be beneficiaries in a European fellowship. Secondments, meaning research stays, can take place anywhere in the world, up to 50% of your project, and you will be able to extend, if you wish, up to 6 months your project in a non-academic placement in Europe. I will explain the difference between secondments and non-academic placement very shortly now. When we talk about global fellowship, remember, this is not about moving to Europe directly, but it is about starting a project somewhere outside of Europe, okay, in a third country, South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, any African countries, for example, but obviously any worldwide countries for 1 to 2 years, and then you finish your project in Europe, where the beneficiary will recruit you for the full direction of the project in Spain, in Italy, in any of the 27 countries and the associated countries, meaning you can have a global fellowship with having a beneficiary in Tunisia or in Egypt. In terms of eligibility, open to European researchers, but also to third country researchers. If you have been a long resident in Europe, meaning if you have lived in Europe for over 5 years, consecutive 5 years, you need to have the same rules in terms of research experience, the same rules in terms of mobility. Remember, the mobility here is measured in the third country. The duration is a little bit longer because you first go outside of Europe and then you go to Europe. So it's normally 2 to 3 years. And secondments, again, can take place anywhere in the world. And you also have the possibility to extend a little bit more your project when you're back in Europe. So what does an MSCA postdoctoral proposal look like? It's not only a research proposal, it's a research and training proposal. And you will see these when I come to the evaluation criteria. We talk about research and innovation, therefore you will really improve your research capacities. But we also talk about training. You will be able to look a little bit outside of the box. You will be able to get training for many other aspects that are outside of the lab. I mean, we talk about gender aspects, how to get funding, what is IPR, intellectual property rights, for example, many other aspects that fall a little bit outside of the scientific words, pure scientific work, that will really improve your career development. What is important in this type of research project is not only you as a researcher, your perspective, your capabilities, but also you need to see and ensure in the project the knowledge exchange between you as a researcher and the institution that you go into. This needs to be complementary. This is very important. Normally, and I look back now at my previous life as national contact point, but the best projects, the best proposal are always built together by the two parts, meaning the researcher who has the idea and the institution who will recruit the researcher. This interaction, when you will have a look at the evaluation criteria and the structure of the proposal, you will see that information from both sides is needed in the template and the project. So it's good that you collaborate together. This is an individual project, of course, and you as a researcher, you master your idea, but you need to ensure that your supervisor is included in the proposal and he or she has an active role. I was referring to some, as I always say, European jargon. Why? Because maybe you never heard before the term secondment. I never heard that before starting working in some European projects. And then non-academic placement. So what is the difference of these two possibilities that the project allows you? It allows you, for example, imagine that you are, for example, recruited by the American University in Cairo doing a European fellowship, and you want to do a secondment because you need to really do some technology transfer, or you need to have specific training from another university. You can do that somewhere else in the globe, in the project. Okay, so out of your 2 years of direction of project of European fellowship in the American University of Cairo, you can go, for example, for a 3 months direction secondment to a company in Italy to develop a specific protocol, for example. Or you can go to university in the States, in the United States of America, to do some technology transfer. This is also possible. Okay, so please be aware of this flexibility. When we talk about non-academic placement, this is a little bit different. Why? Because the objective here is to promote career moves between sectors and organizations, and there to stimulate innovation and knowledge transfer, while trying to expand a little bit the career path of or maybe the ordinary, right, career path of researchers. So if you feel that your project has an applicable transfer to the market, for example, an innovative idea that can be transferred to the market very closely to the end of the project, you can add 6 months of your project in a non-academic institutions in Europe. Okay, this is important, so up to 6 months. This information needs to be included in the proposal when you prepare it. So it's something to bear in mind when you do the overall conceptualization of your project. So secondments and non-academic placement, both of them involve the participation of a supervisor of that institution that you're doing the secondment and the non-academic placement into the project. Okay, if you go to any university in Europe to do a secondment, you need to have a supervisor there who will work with you during your 3 or 6 months of the project that you're doing there. And the same applies with the non-academic placement. So this is completely different to maybe a short stay or a field work. Okay, that is also possible of course, in some of the fields in the MSCA project. So please be aware of that. So let's go to funding. And this information is in euros, okay? And it's just an example because actually when you submit a proposal, it's very easy in the program. It's absolutely automatic. So it will be done depending on the number of months that you have in your project and the country that you go into. So you will see in the slide that we have, let's say, 2 different parts here. We have the researcher's costs and the institutional cost. All will be sent to the beneficiary. Remember, the institution will receive these funds and then will recruit you. So in this recruitment process, you will benefit from what we call a living allowance, okay? And you see there that there's a CCC, it says country coefficient correction, because as I mentioned before, it's not the same thing to live in Egypt as to live in France. Therefore, there's a country coefficient that applies. I included the information for Spain because this is an example that my colleagues in Spain gave me. So the final budget comes from multiplying the number of months in the country by all these different allowances and unit costs. So you will have a living allowance, a mobility allowance, the 2 of them come together. In the case that you have family, you will also be able to apply for a family allowance. And one thing that is important for you to understand is that in the term living allowance, then all deductions applies in terms of tax for employer and employees. Then when we talk about institutional costs, research, training, and networking costs, this is for you to know that not only your salary will be funded here, but you will also have funds to do all these secondments that we were talking about. You will also have funds to purchase any lab material that is needed, to receive training, to carry out scientific webinars, to prepare all that has to do with the science and training activities of the program. So this is important for you to be aware. It's a very competitive salary. It's a very competitive salary in general terms. So now you know what is funded, how it's funded, who can apply, the eligibility criteria, the different implementation modes of the program. And what I will give you now is some information on previous call. Let's put it that way. So what happened in previous year? We're talking about Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is a very competitive R&I program. So MSCA will not be any different. What you can see there, and I'm not, this is reality, and I'm not trying to turn you down, not at all. The other way around, it is competitive, but it's feasible. So what you can see are the numbers there. As I mentioned to you, the numbers of proposals submitting have really heavily increased over the year. Over almost 17,000 proposals in 2025. And what you see to the right-hand side is the number of funded proposals as well per year. What I have here is the information of the cutoff scores, meaning what do you need to have as a score to be funded. And it's separated by European Fellowship and Global Fellowship and by the different panels because it differs, okay? For example, for chemistry, you can have a higher cutoff scores, 93.6 in the European Fellowships, for example, against a 91.4 in mathematics. So depending on the panel, you will have different scores and different proposals will be funded. And again, this is the number of proposals that are funded depending on the panel. Again, this comes on demand. You will see that, and we always have this question, what about social sciences? Well, social sciences and humanity, you might see that is the second largest panel that is funded. Life sciences comes before social sciences, but it's a program that attracts a lot of attention, so there's a lot of projects funded there. For example, the economic or the mathematics panels are smaller panels, so therefore not that many submissions, not that many proposals that are funded. This is just for you to have an idea on statistics. They're per country. Okay, here you see the 2025 country results in terms of projects that have been funded and where do they normally go to. UK, who is a country that is associated to Horizon Europe, normally gets, it's always been like this, the highest number of proposals and of project funded. But this is just for you to have a look at the different countries. And I think this is also important, the country results, but by panel, by scientific panel. And you will get these slides just for you to know in what country, maybe if you have a specific idea in your mind, in your scientific field, just have a look at the ones that have been funded in terms of MSCA previously. And then, of course, we also have the information of the nationalities of researchers who have been funded before in 2025. So, having said all this, what is the reference portal for you to have a look at? It's always the same one. And I know my Ahmed and Jerry Fana do an excellent work in terms of explaining what the portal, the funding intended portal offers you. This is where all the information of the call, the official information, the documents, everything, the partner search announcements is included here. So you have the link to the funding tenders portal. This is where you need to go to be able to download the template and submit your proposal. So you can submit that as a researcher, but it always has to be done in collaboration with your host institution. Okay, it can be either you as a researcher or the host institution who submit the project because you need information on the peak. I mean, there's institutional information that is needed. Once you go and register yourself, you will see that you have two parts, I would say, in the project. One is the administrative part that includes information that is more generic, right? Information on the researcher, on your eligibility criteria, if you comply with them, on the participants, who are the institutions who are participating. The budget, as I mentioned, is automatically covered. Aspects concerning ethics, securities, and other specific questions for this topic. And then you have what we call Part B, and this is the scientific and technical proposal. There is a template for it. You need to download it. Don't innovate here. innovate in the science that you're doing, but not in the format. Because if you just take any other template for any other call or any other year, it might change. So be careful with that. And here, what you have is 10 pages, only 10 pages to convince the evaluator that your proposal was worth funding. Okay, so please be aware of this. You will see that you have section B1 and B2. Section B1 follows the same, evaluation criteria that all the criteria in Horizon Europe, and that is excellent impact and implementation. This is what your proposal will be evaluated against. In B2, there's no page limit, but there's some pages limit for some of the specific parts or recommendations. For example, the CV of the researcher will be included here. Additional institution information will be included here. Letter of commitment, if applicable, etc., etc. So without pages, but this also needs to be covered. So when we talk about excellence, impact and implementation, here you need to show first, in terms of excellence, what is the project about? What are you intending to achieve? What are your objectives and the methodology that you're going to be carrying out? And why are you doing it? What do you think this project is now timely and it's worth funding? And what are the evidence that you're going to collect? And how are you going to measure the impact that you will produce? And when we talk about implementation, basically is how are you going to do it? You will be given specific funds. Are you able to manage them? Will you have a concrete work plan that you will follow? Do you foresee any risks that you need to have contingency plans for? So this is the idea. Very quickly, because I don't know, Ahmed, how am I doing on time? Maybe I'm taking too much time. But just to have an idea of these criteria, okay? So when we talk about excellence, obviously, yes, we need to talk about the research and innovation objective of the project. So what is the state of the art right now in that specific scientific field that you're applying to? You need to show the evaluators that you know what's going on, but you also know how you are going to advance what happens right now in these fields. Therefore, you really need to align quite well your objectives with big EU initiatives, really target and frame correctly your project with what's happening right now. Then when we talk about the methodology, you need to be very concrete. You have 2 years of direction, so don't be over ambitious, but try to really express correctly these research and innovation objectives that you have included in the first part of the excellence, how you're going to be able to deliver them. And this implies talking about the instruments, the protocol. When are you going to carry them out? How much time is it going to take you? Are they interconnected between the different objectives? Who normally, the objectives are then work packages of your project. And something that is also very relevant in terms of methodology and to show the interdisciplinarity of your project. In many cases, this applies because because you are working with different colleagues of different disciplines in the project, but maybe because your own background is coming from a different discipline than the one from your supervisor. That is also possible. Something additionally that is important in terms of methodology is the gender dimension of the project, okay? If you feel that the results that will be obtained will have a different effect, for example, on women, on men, on children, on elderly people, this is something you need to include in your methodology because it will enrich the impact of your project. So think about it. And it doesn't only apply to social science or to life science. Maybe this can apply to many other fields. And of course, make your results as open as possible, as soon as possible, aligning with the open science practice. Then, as I mentioned before, if you remember, we say that this is a research and a training program. So here you need to talk about training. And these last two parts of the excellence section needs to be very aligned also with what you include in your CV. Why? Because what you're going to have in this project is a personalized career development plan that is going to be built for you as an individual within the different possibilities of the host institutions in their training options. Okay, so you need to be aware here of what happens in the host institution, what kind of training they can offer you, not only to improve your scientific skills, but also in terms of transferable skills. But this needs to be aligned with your needs as a researcher and your own capacity. For example, if you are a researcher who is really well trained in open science, and this, can be seen in the CV due to many reasons, then you also need, of course, training on open science, but you don't have to put that much of an emphasis on that. So always try to customize the information of training here. So training is important, as I mentioned before, this two-way of transfer between you and your institution. And if you're applying for a global fellowship, also with the institutions that you're starting your project in, if you're going to the United States of America, what are you bringing back to Europe then afterwards? Okay, you need to really reflect on all that this is happening. And the supervisor, you need to show who is your supervisor, the skills that he or she has, and the scientific expertise as well. And then when in terms of quality of your professional experience, try to convince the evaluators that you are the right person, that you have the right skills to develop the activities that you have planned in the project. In terms of impact, as we mentioned, there's going to be an individual impact for you. So where do you see yourself thanks to all these training and research that you will have achieved after 2 years? Where do you see yourself in a medium to long term planning? Do you see yourself in the academia? Do you see yourself maybe in a non-academic institution? If that is the case, we'll mention what type of typology, what type of institution that will be. So try to do some word of perspective here. And then, of course, what are the outcomes and the impact that this is bringing, not only to your scientific colleagues and peers, but also outside. So this is why we talk about communication, dissemination, and exploitation. Of course, you will disseminate all of this to your peers, to your colleagues via conferences, publications, etc., But not only this, you also have to communicate about your project and the results of your project for example, to the society as a large, okay? So that people understand why funding is needed, why funding research is needed, and the benefits that this brings to the everyday life. And you also need to ensure that your final users, it can be pharmaceutics, it can be the industry, are also part of your communication. You will not use the same channels to approach a researcher than to approach, for example, a stakeholder that deals with policy making. And again, exploitation. If you feel that your project will bring specific results that can be exploited, you also need to see what's the methodology behind it. And the magnitude of your scientific, societal, and economic impacts. Obviously, you will always have a scientific impact because you will advance the state of the arts, but think widely, more than just scientific impact, what this will bring to the society and in terms of economic impact as well. So here, again, important to be aligned and to remember and include in this session information of the EU initiatives that are going on in your field, where you will be able to include KPIs and measures when you talk about impacts. And finally, the last but not the least, this is also important because the implementation will ensure the evaluators that the project can really take place and be developed. So you will need to establish a work plan. Normally the work plan will include work packages. Those are your research objectives, where you will allocate the efforts, but also talk about the risks that the project can have. This is a living document, and this is a living project, a research and innovation project. So you will have risks that you need to identify and then establish a contingency plan. And of course, include also why the host institutions is the best one, the one that has the most experience in your research field, and all the necessary capacities and hosting arrangements that are included and available for you. So these will be, in a nutshell, the information on what the proposal looks like. So the structure, the evaluation criteria. Please remember, and before I close, something that is important. You have here 3 evaluation criteria: excellence, impact, and implementation, 50, 30, 20. Do not neglect impact and implementation because they don't have the same weight as excellence. This is an error that sometimes it's a mistake that people tend to do and just focus on excellence. No, you really need to, as you've seen the cutoff scores, 91, 92, 93 out of 100, you really need to score high in the 3 criteria. So take your time within the proposal to read and prepare the 3 excellence, impact, and implementation very thoroughly. Another important aspect, these projects take time to prepare, and what's important in them for you to understand that the evaluator might have 10 to 15 proposals to read together with your proposal. So make them life easy. These 3 experts who can be really close to your research line, but maybe not that close. So you also need to have to be very thorough, but sell a little bit the science you're doing for people who maybe do not have the specific knowledge. As I mentioned, they're reading 10 to 15 proposals, so make their life easy. Make a format that not only include text, but also include visuals that can, for example, explain your methodology. Instead of using 5 paragraphs, you can also include a graph or a visual that explains the interaction between the different work packages in the methodology, and that is something that is useful for the researchers. So after all this information that we've given today, you might say, okay, where do I start? You always need to start with the Funding Tenders portal. Go there, official website, download the information, read through the guide of applicants, read through the work plan, download the evaluation form, download the template, and have a look at it and start working on it. The Radiance project, that is a project that funds the national contact points. They also produce a lot of materials. And you will see that there are handbooks that are available for you to use. Here, I should have said Euraccess Africa. My apology, Ahmed May, but I've been doing many presentations this year. But you will get the correct slide. So you've seen Mai has presented you Euraccess Africa. They do have a lot of activities, webinars, info session, grant writing proposal sessions. Please subscribe and have a look at everything that is available for you there, not only in terms of MSCA, but also for other Horizon Europe programs. Some strategic documents that you need to be aware when you write an MSCA proposal. Obviously, it's bottom up, but you need to include very important EU initiatives. The Green Deal is one of them. So the Green Charter covers how to implement this project from a sustainable perspective. We've mentioned before that you as a researcher have an idea, but you need a supervisor in your host institution. There are guides on supervision that have been drafted by the European Commission, also with the support of other external stakeholders, that show that supervision can take different forms, depending obviously on your career stage, but also on the type of project, the type of institution. Have a look at it, okay? And some other documents that I'm not going to go into more details because it might be too late, but Mai already mentioned this. If you still don't have an idea of where you want to go, have a look at Euraccess jobs. Here you will see the hosting offers that are available. This is a screenshot from a couple of weeks ago, so not that long time ago, and over 700 hosting offers in different countries, in different fields, are available for you. As Euraccess Worldwide, we will also produce at the end of this month some videos for you to see different European countries that have hosting offers available in case you still have no idea where to go. Okay, and with this, let me finish. I always like to finish with a quote from our dear Maria Salomea Skłodowska-Curie, this fantastic scientific female, that says that in life nothing is to be feared, only to be understood. So I hope that today we gave you good information for you to understand better the program, and I encourage you to really go for it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Christina, for this nice presentation. I think you give us all details about participation in MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship. So we will now move to the Q&A session, and please feel free to raise your hand if you want to the question, pose your question live. Please, we have already some attendees, so 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Let's begin with the first one. Yes, so I think we have Mariam. Mariam, please go ahead, Mariam. If not,
okay. Yeah.
Lamia?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, Lamia.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, my name.
Lamia, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for this insightful session and for the valuable information that you've shared with us. And actually, I have two questions. Given the Egypt's new associated country status, the first question is, how can the Egyptian applicants show in their MSAA proposal that Egypt's new association with Horizon Europe proposal added value to the project? And also, what should Egyptian universities do in practice so they become strong and attractive partners in MSAA projects, or even able to lead MSAA projects as coordinators? I have one more question, if you may. And the third question is, are there any transnational rules or specific administrative requirements that Egyptian applicants should be aware of when applying to MSAA calls under the new association agreement?
Thank you, Lamia. Good to see you. I don't see you, but good to have you with us today.
Likewise.
So, I mean, in terms of, added value, I think what's important in these projects is to show the scientific expertise of the institutions, be that as an associated partner in a global fellowship, or as a beneficiary in Europe, in Egypt, in this case. So go and really show your expertise in the field and convince the Commission that this is the institution who is the perfect one to ensure that the researcher can have the correct and the excellent infrastructures that are needed to really develop the project. I think this is important, okay? This is very important. In terms of leading the projects, indeed, now Egypt can lead. I mean, they can be host institution in European Fellowship, but they can be host institution in Global Fellowship as well. They can be a coordinator in Doctoral Network, in staff exchanges. I think it's important to make yourself visible. I think you need to, as an institution, try to be as visible as possible. Communication is really key right now. So do not hesitate to post your hosting offers in your access, to do any internal promotional kits that will, and I'm pretty sure that my colleagues from your Access Africa will be able to also disseminate it. So I think it's important to be visible. In terms of requirement rules, I mean, I don't think there's any specific requirement rules in terms of the association right now. To be honest, you are now eligible to participate as a full partner, as a host institution, as a beneficiary. So you will need to comply, and obviously, for example, in terms of MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship, when you recruit the researcher, you will need to ensure that you comply with your national route, but you also ensure these living allowance, mobility allowance, and family allowance that are structured in the project, and that is something that the European Commission includes in the grant agreement. I hope I responded to your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Lamia. So I think we have another question from Yin Zima. Please, Yin Zima, please go ahead.
Hello. Yes. Yes. I typed my question in the Q&A section of this Zoom, and look like it wasn't read, so I have to ask here in person. I have two questions. One is, I mean, you mentioned about the postdoc application.
Sorry. Just I want to, if you want, from which country? Before that.
South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the number of applications last year was 17,000. That's a very impressive number. What is the success rate of that application? And there are another question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I gave you some in the slides. You can see some of the success rate per panel, okay? Because it depends a little bit on your panel. If you're in economics, you will have maybe less proposal. So sorry.
Physics.
Okay, but I can show the slides if you wish, but it differs per panel. I mean, you can have from 9% of success rate to 50% of success rate. It really depends on the different panels. And remember, these are just statistics. We don't know what's going to happen this year. It never reached this amount of proposals before, as you can see
Okay.
from the evolution. But we will share with you all the slides, no worries.
So the range is in between 9 to 15%.
It
As
depends,
what you said.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that explains why my postdoc tried last year and failed. Okay, so number two question is, I am a senior position at university, and you just mentioned a PF, but I'm not doing a PM myself. So I wonder any more opportunity from these, from your this sort of EMARS, your Trail Access and Horizon Europe that could match for the senior people, for example, for traveling collaboration and doctoral student training. That would be more directly relevant to me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess they were just, I mean, Ahmed, I don't know if you want to take this one. I know you just did an ERC, for example, webinar before, but I mean, I don't know if you want to take this one.
No, I want to say that we will send you soon a flash note with the recording video for the 2 sessions for ERC Africa webinar. So feel free to watch them, and feel free to contact us if you have some questions. So because we have already organized last week 2 webinars related to European Research Council grants.
Okay. So I missed that. I would like to watch these recordings. Yeah.
Okay. I will put the link in the chat. Okay, don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleague. So let's see Mariam. Mariam, are you here? So if not, we have Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Emmanuel.
Yes, it's me. Are you hearing me?
A little bit, but it's okay.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. My name is Dr. Emmanuel from Federal University of Chuka in Bayelsa State in Nigeria, from Nigeria. Okay. I want to ask, how do we get a supervisor from this host institution to respond as quick as possible? I've had an experience, I think, within this year, trying to get some good supervisors, get their contact, their email, send an email, no response. Some of them responded a day before the deadline of the program, which we cannot do anything about. So how do we go about that? That is the first question. And the second question is that how do we engage my institution for an exchange program? By the grace of God, I'm the Deputy Director of Grant Management and Administration in my institution. How can we engage this organization, URES, with from other institutions? How can we engage in exchange program? And that is the second one. And the third one is that how can we collaborate with association, this organization, with my institution? Because I know that our chief executive, our vice chancellor, is interested in such. How can my institution collaborate with URAS in getting some of this information and giving our institution some of these ideas on how to get both postdoctorate and grant and so on and so forth? Thank you very much.
Okay. Chris, you want to take the floor?
Yeah, I can take the floor for some of those. So for the first one, unfortunately, I think this goes on a personal level. I mean, some of the many of the hosting offers that are available in your access, which is just one of the different platforms that is available. I guess people respond on a personal basis. It is a pity, but I don't think there's something we can do about it. It's a pity that the supervisors are not responding to any of the emails. I don't know if apart from the email, for example, that is available, you can find another way to contact with them, but I'm afraid it is a pity because now is the time to start, respond it quite quickly because the deadline is in September and reality is that August, some parts of August are not, I mean, many institutions are not really working that much. So I'm afraid there's not much we can say about that one. In terms of, and this is a similar question to your previous colleague, I think that came from South Africa, if I remember well. So we have, this is a specific postdoctoral fellowship event, but we have had webinars, not only us, but some other initiatives such as MSCA that show the different collaborative projects in MSCA. So there are possibilities for staff exchange, indeed, where you can, and for doctoral networks preparation, where you could include your institution to participate and host a PhD in your premises to train them, for example. How to get there? Again, there are different possibilities to find partners. The partner search announcements from the Funding and Tenders portal is one of them. The partner announcement and partner search from Euraccess website is another one of them. There are different ones. So again, it's to make yourself visible, show your expertise, and be there so that other institutions from Europe might see your experience, might see what you're doing in your institution, what you're offering, and this will allow you somehow to be part and to start collaborating with other institutions worldwide. I don't know, Ahmed, Mai, if we can send them some of this recording also afterwards to those who were interested in collaborative programs.
Yes, please, but I want to add something that we are open for collaboration. When we receive requests from institutions based on Africa and universities to co-organize some info sessions online, usually our response is positive. So let's make connections together and let's co-organize together some useful events in order to give the opportunity to African researchers to be there in Horizon Europe. So let's have another question from Justin. Please go ahead. Justin? If not, we have Gabriel Okafor. Gabriel Okafor. Gabriel, are you there?
Okay, thank you so much, the organizers. My name is Gabriel Okafor from University of Nigeria in Nsukka.
Okay.
I'm a food process engineer, though I lecture now a professor at the university. The initiative or program is very beautiful, well packaged. Unfortunately, because of age, you know, I'm happy when you said it's ageless. Any scholar of any age may apply, but my PhD was obtained 1991, no, 94. So that had taken me out of it. So there are possibility of having those with earlier PhDs engaged in any type of initiative you are packaging, because retraining is very crucial to empower scholars in Africa. And the emerging technologies, we need to retool quickly. So I advocate for program for senior scholars as well, in as much as it's good to middle-aged scholars and so on and so forth. But at the interim, the same thing, how do one skill be utilized to advance this project, either as a supervisor or a project evaluator or things like that, so you know better. But above all, is a beautiful package, and I commend you all for the efforts you are making to reach out to researchers in Africa to take up this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'm into
Gabriel.
food.
Thank you for your nice words. And I mean, at some point, I think in the career stage. Remember that MSCA is all about mobility as well, okay? So it's true that maybe at some point people are a little bit more reluctant to move for 2 years or 3 years outside of their home country. But then you can think about these collaborative projects, not only in MSCA, which you do have the possibility to be part of a staff exchange or a doctoral program, but also maybe think about collaborative projects in Horizon Europe in general in Pillar 2. That's also a possibility, I guess. And yes, indeed, do register yourself as an expert in the database for Horizon Europe to be called as an evaluator. This is also very important, and you can do so in the Funded Intenders portal. That's a very good point.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you also, Gabriel. Let's move to Alwando. Yeah. Yours, Celine.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you about your presentation. I'm Jocelyn Alowano. I'm a lecturer in Benin,
Okay.
one of our public university of Benin. And I have applied for MSc PF 2 times. And the last time I gained the score of 92.8. So I received I think is a certificate of Seal of Excellence from European Commission. So I wanted to have a few tips that will help me to improve deeply my proposal, and I think that is my last time to apply for. So I need your help. I don't know, any advice that will help me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Sorry, I'm typing some responses at the same time that I'm listening to you. Multitasking is difficult sometimes. But thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for letting us know that you applied twice. I know what we say sometimes here is that persistence is important, right? And constance as well is important. But it is difficult to see your project being rejected with a 92 out of 100 score, because the project is absolutely excellent. It's absolutely excellent. Now, the Seal of Excellence is like an award that is provided by the Commission for all the projects that are ranged above 85, but there's no funding for them. For me to be able to give you some advice, I will need to know a little bit more of that project, and also maybe the evaluation summary report. We can be in touch bilaterally if you wish, and we can discuss further. But the idea is that you have a look at your evaluation summary reports, and that you extract from the different lines and from the comments and the weaknesses that the evaluators included in your project, what can be done, what can be improved. And not only this, is that from one year to another, normally maybe the methodology has to be redone because things might have changed in your scientific field and it can be outdated. So there are things to really look at, but with a 92, it's very difficult. May I ask you what country did you apply with, and what scientific field?
Yes, Italy,
Okay.
especially Naples, University,
Naples.
University Federico II, II of Naples.
Okay. I think the national contact points in Italy, I think they review proposals. So you might actually talk to Angelo and Marco, the colleagues there. But feel free to contact me if I can help you with something. Happy to do so.
Okay. May I have your contact, or just?
Sure, I will include it in the. I will include it. I will include my contact in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, colleague. So let's have Fred Oluendo. Fred.
Thank you very much. I'm Fred Oluendo from Riara University. Riara is in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
Yes. My question is a follow-up question to Gabriel Okafor, who was talking about seniority in the field. And I know you had said, Christina, that it shouldn't go beyond 8 years of research experience. But as you know, the challenge with Africa is that sometimes you can stay in the field for even 10 years, but really the research experience is very, very minimal. So I was wondering how you can help us to really zero in on calculating the years of research experience. Is it the total number of years post PhD, or
Okay.
Yeah.
exactly
So
how do we calculate that?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
somebody who has
we get
had
the
a PhD,
questions.
you get the question. Okay.
Okay, we
thank
get
you,
the
Fred.
Thank
questions.
you.
Thank you. So, I mean, in the slides that you will receive, you will see anyway a link to a self-assessment form where you can include your information as a researcher, and they will give you guidance if you're eligible or not. Okay. But one thing that is important to understand is after your PhD, you start counting the 8 years. Now, for example, if you've been out of research for whatever reason, because of paternity leave, because you took a break, because maybe in your contract, you can have a contract as a professor, but maybe in the contract it says you're doing 60% of teaching and 40% of research. I don't know if this is the case, but it will not be full-time research. So only 40% of that period will be counted as research. So it is about trying to find the documents in your case that prove what is the time you have invested in research. So it's not only that 8 years have passed and then you are not eligible anymore. There are exceptions. This is why we are giving you the link so that you can really have a closer look, because obviously we're talking about people here, and everybody, each one of you has a different situation. So please have a look at that link, specific link, but please note that it can be more than 8 years and you can still be eligible.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. We still have 3-4 questions, and we will move to questions in the Q&A with our colleague May. Okay. Let's have Muritala. Muritala, are you there? If not, we have.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you
Yes,
very
please go
much.
ahead. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Nuke Demutala from University of Ilorin, Nigeria.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this program. And I sincerely appreciate the European Union for this powerful program. I just want to ask that if you have different ideas that you intend to work on 2 different proposals, is it possible to have 2 different hosts for different universities, having known that it's only one application that is tenable on the portal?
Yes, Kahim, only one proposal can be submitted to one host. What you can have within that proposal is your main host, who will be the beneficiary of the project. But remember that you can include maybe other institutions where you will do secondments, okay? That would have added value for the project. But as a project, only one can be submitted.
Okay. Okay. Even at that project, can I have a co-supervisor on the same project?
You can have the figure of the co-supervisor, I mean, happens and it's not a problem at all. You can have a co-supervisor, for example, because you have a very multidisciplinary project and you're working with 2 different departments at the host institution. That can happen. So, and again, if you do a secondment, you will have a co-supervisor because you will have somebody supervising you doing your secondment. So it is possible, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move
Thank you
to.
very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to Amaka. Amaka. So if not, we have Florence. Kinua. Florence.
Thank
Good morning,
you.
everyone from Nigeria.
Both of you. Okay, let's begin with Amaka, please. Amaka.
Yes, this is Amaka Ononuju from the
Okay.
University of Nigeria, Nsukka.
Asuka,
Thank
okay.
you for this very opportunity to interact with those of us in Africa to help us in the MSCA application. I truly appreciate this opportunity. Okay, I did contact someone to ask if she can be able to host me in their institution in Netherlands. So she actually accepted. And then my worry, like we had a meeting yesterday and we were like, is it better to have a fresh proposal or is it better to leverage an existing project going on in their lab? Or is it better to look at two options, get a new proposal entirely or leverage an existing project that they are doing, like look at the projects and then see the gaps that the project is not filling at the moment, and then you can draw your proposal from that. We don't know which option is better for the application.
Okay, that's a very specific question.
Yes, and again, I joined late. I'm so sorry about that. I joined late. I don't know what the fellowship covers in terms of research, living experience of the scholar, and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Maka. So you will get the slides. So I don't think we will spend so much time, but everything is covered, fully funded at 100% in terms of unit cost. So you will get your salary and you will also get funds to do your research. Okay. So this is important with the country coefficient in the Netherlands. So concerning your scientific question, it's very hard to answer indeed, because what's essentially in MSCA is that you own your project as a researcher, meaning it is your idea, okay? This is important. Now, again, you obviously need to adapt it to the institution where you will deliver the activity. So I don't know how much weight this has, but please remember that you are leading the proposal. And the supervisor has to somehow mentor and tutor and support you. But the idea is more yours than the institution. Okay, so you need to find a balance there. I don't know, Ahmed, and if you wanted to add something on that.
Yeah, I want to add.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please,
Go on,
Amaka,
please.
Okay, I want to say that in your Access portal, you can find a lot of host organizations. They post the opportunity to applicants. So I will share with you the link. Please take a look, see if some organizations based on Europe that propose some ideas or some fields, so that can switch to your specialty. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
And
Thank you.
I think there's also something important, if I may add. I think if you already have a contact and a supervisor, this is already a step forward, and it's a big step. I always refer to the national contact points. Try to also involve them, maybe by asking them national contact points in the country. In this case, in the Netherlands, they're quite active as well. Try to talk with them, see if they can, what insights they can give you as well.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. And can I have co-supervisor, because I see the MSCA fellowship as a career development fellowship, and then from my proposal that I have before contacting the host institution, they looked at it is a kind of more. It's like I will be needing multiple supervisors. So I don't know if it's allowed. Like I want to learn part of the skills that I want to acquire through these fellowships: co-adaptation skills, implementation science skills, ADRD epidemiology skills, and cognition training. So
Okay.
during our meeting yesterday, it looks like one person doesn't have all this to offer. And so she was saying that there are people in their group that are also implementation scientists and this and all of that. So I don't know if I can have two supervisors for this project, but they are still in the same lab, the same institution.
Yeah, this is actually the same question as we had the previous one. You will always have a main supervisor, okay? You will always have a main supervisor. But it is possible, and in your case, if you have a project that tackles different discipline within the same lab, it's feasible to have a co-supervisor or a mentor or a tutor within the institution for some specific trainings. That it's possible, it has to be justified in the proposal, but it's possible.
So for the application, I will have one person, but when I start working, I can work.
No. I mean, if this expertise is needed in the proposal, you need to include it in the proposal, in drafting the proposal as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maga. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see the final question, the final one from, I think, Florence. We get Florence before, not?
Yes, thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you for the opportunity. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is Florence Kinyo from KEMRI, that is Kenya Medical Research Institute. I'm sorry, I don't have the PhD yet, and I'm seeing that your program is basically for postdoctorate, but I just want to ask the opportunities you have for the people that are already still doing their PhD. Number two, there's something you've talked about, collaborative research. KEMRI, we do a lot of research that is both the implementation and the lab-based. And I don't know what that means, whether the collaborative research can involve institutions from Europe and also in the Africa setup, maybe the KEMRI part of it. So that's the question I wanted to ask, whether we have any kind of hosting that can be done in the Africa setup, or the hosting is purely in the European countries. Thank you. Those are my two questions.
Thank you, Florence. So indeed, if you still don't have your PhD, this will not be for you right now, but once you get it, maybe you can apply for postdoctoral fellowships. In terms of collaborative projects, when we talk about Doctoral Network, which is the network constituted by research institutions, universities, companies in an international setup, it means that what you will have is a European coordinator, and that you need to have at least 3 institutions who are based in Europe. When we say Europe here, in terms of Africa, we also say Tunisia and Egypt. Please remember this. And then you can have additional beneficiaries or associated countries who participate in that collaborative projects throughout the world. So how does it work? The idea of a doctoral network is to recruit and train researchers at the early stage, meaning they will have their PhD in the framework of a doctoral network, okay? How can an African institution participate? They can decide, for example, to recruit. Once the minimum of European institutions is met, they can decide to be a beneficiary by recruiting a PhD candidate as well, or they can decide to host PhD candidates in their premises for a specific moment in time during this PhD. So that's a possibility of a collaborative project within MSCA. In terms of staff exchange, it's also possible to build a consortium with European institutions who will be leading the project, who will coordinate the project, where institutions from Africa can participate and do the staff, the secondments, the staff exchanges within Europe to go to Europe, or that European partners come to Africa. So this is possible for the researchers who are part of the institutions. They can be PhDs, they can be postdocs, they can be staff working in the R&I department. So this is in terms of collaborative research within MSCA. But I would say this is a different webinar that we can obviously give you information for.
Yeah, please can give me for the Doctor Network.
Yes, we can send you the information, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I really
Thank you.
appreciate. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Let's move to the questions in the Q&A tab. Please, May, take the floor.
Okay, I think we can take some questions in Q&A. So we have one question: Do the postdoc fellow and the host need to develop a proposal together before submitting to? She mentioned to Euraxis for considering for funding.
Yeah, I got this one. I think I was typing there, and it's very good, Mai, that you got this one because we don't want to create confusion, right? So what is important is that the researcher and the host institution connect, collaborate. The supervisor, as we had your colleague Emeka, I think it was she was connecting already with the supervisor. So you get that connection, that collaboration, and then once you have worked the proposal, you submit it to the Funding and Tenders portal, which is the portal from the European Commission where all the calls are managed, and where you will have to submit the proposal. What Euraxis does here is that it has a specific section on hosting offers where you can find and look for possible host institutions in case you have not initiated any collaboration with supervisors from your own side. Try to look for them, but it's only a platform that shows you this, okay? It's not compulsory to go to Euraxis to look for a supervisor and an institution in Europe, and you do not submit via Euraxis. You submit your proposal together with your host institution to the Funding and Tenders portal. I think it was good to clarify this.
Yeah. So another question: Can I apply for a postdoc at a UK institution?
Indeed, yes. UK, the United Kingdom, is now associated to Horizon Europe again. There was a time where they were not associated, and therefore the European fellowship mode was not available. Now it is. You can apply for a European fellowship with a British institution.
Okay. For global fellowships, are there any restrictions for selecting the outgoing country? Can this be the same country where the PhD was obtained or the candidate is a citizen?
Okay, it can be, but be careful with that, because to be able to go for a global fellowship, you need to comply with two things. One is the mobility, well, obviously the research experience as well. But for the global fellowship, the mobility rule is measured actually in that third country. So if you're willing to apply for a global fellowship in South Africa, you cannot have resided in South Africa for more than a year in the previous 3 years of the call deadline, meaning it could be difficult that you have done your PhD in South Africa. Or, I mean, if not, it will be longer ago, but please take this into account. And in terms of nationality, please remember that to apply for a global fellowship, you need to be either a European researcher or coming from an associated country to Horizon Europe, or you need to have a long-term residence in Europe, meaning 5 years of consecutive work or study or living in Europe. I think you need to be aware of those two aspects.
Okay. How does the program work if you're interested in industry-related projects?
Okay. So it's absolutely possible. You will have, depending also on your scientific field, I guess, projects that are more close to the market than others. And this is allowed by including mainly the main incentive here will be the non-academic placement. Think that if you have something close to the market that you can exploit, maybe after the end of the project or shortly after, you can opt for a placement, a non-academic placement at that specific institution. It can be an industry, an SME, but it can be an NGO, it can be a hospital, a public administration. And you will be able to continue, and this will give you the possibility then afterwards to maybe move to a non-academic position.
Okay. The greatest challenge in applying for the MSCA fellowship is getting a host. How can this be navigated as an applicant from Africa?
Okay, I think we showed already, you showed at the beginning the Euraxis offers. It's possible for you to connect there, showing your interest. But I think obviously you also need to, to try to leverage your own natural network. Go to conferences, listen to this type of webinars, try to come to your natural collaborators, maybe within your institutions, but obviously also use the tools that we're showing you today. Euraxis Worldwide is one of them. You also have the Funding Tenders portal with the partner announcement search. You also have an MSCA matchmaking platform. So you have several possibilities for you to be able to connect with European host institutions. And I don't know, Mai, Ahmed, if you wish to add something there, because you also are aware of this kind of networking needs.
Ahmed, do you have an answer for that?
But I would say, yeah, use the tools that we're showing you today.
Yes, of course. Yes, I want to say that usually we organize many practical workshops, online workshops. So stay connected with us. We'll try to organize in July also some sessions in order to assist you in your application through MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship.
Okay, thank you. Someone wrote eligibility for medical professionals who have completed their medical residency training but do not have a PhD.
Okay, that's a very concrete one, and I will need to have to go back to the work plan to really answer that. So I will ask for a message from that side if they can contact me, because the training in terms of medical doctors is it's a slightly different, okay, when you do not have your PhD. So we need to ensure that you are eligible. So please send me a message, because I wouldn't like to answer something that is not correct here live.
Okay. Regarding the global fellowship, do we need to identify a European host institution for the final year? Should this be included in the proposal?
Absolutely. It's part of the proposal. Please remember that the beneficiary is the European institutions in the Global Fellowship and in the European Fellowship. If you do not have a beneficiary in the project will not happen. So this is actually, although it's the final phase of the project, actually you need to think that this is where you're going to be recruited. Actually, in some cases, it is allowed to start your project like 1 or 2 or 3 months in Europe and then move to the third country. So it is indispensable. With no beneficiary identification in Europe, the project does not take place.
Okay. Should I be a lecturer in my country before applying or holding a PhD is enough? And could the application be submitted in French?
Okay, holding a PhD is enough. This is the minimum requirement. Now, in terms of language, I would recommend to go for English. I've never seen, and I've been an NCP, a national contact point, for 10 years. I've never seen a proposal submitted in any other language. You will be restricting yourself if you submit a proposal in a different language, because then it will not be that easy for the Commission to really look for experts who have a different language knowledge. I mean, recommendation is always English, because the terminology is written in English. Everything, all the documents are in English.
Okay. Are there any funding mechanisms for master students seeking short-term international stays?
Okay, master students, I guess we talk about maybe Erasmus, which is not my expertise. I don't know, Ahmed and yourself, you might know more. There are possibilities, of course, below PhD candidates where you can have funding, but I'm not really aware of all of them.
Yeah, I want to say that try to use Durax jobs, and we have more than 7,000 opportunities, and try to use filters and put keywords in order to see if there is some positions, PhD positions or opportunities for you. And I will share also the link with you in the chat.
Okay. Is it possible for a host institution to submit 2 projects?
Yes, the host institution can submit even more. I mean, big host institutions, I'm just thinking about CNRS in France, or even CSIC, which is the research agency in Spain, or big universities in Italy, Ca' Foscari. I mean, those institutions, they're big institutions, big universities, they can submit 10, 15, 30 proposals. Why not? But the researchers can only submit 1 proposal.
Okay. Can institutions in the United States serve as host secondment?
Yeah, they can be. Secondments can take place anywhere in the world. So yes.
Okay, I think we can take a last question. Can you fund a PhD candidate who is yet to graduate? I think you mentioned
you need to have your PhD and your Viva by the deadline. This is important.
Okay, I think we're done. I'm sorry if I missed some of your questions in the Q&A. I did my best to collect everything.
Thanks, May. Thanks, May. Okay, I think we get a lot of interest from the whole continent. I see a lot of countries join us today, and please just I want to inform you that we will share with you the slides from Christina, and of course the recording video. So stay connected with us with your Access Africa. We'll receive soon your recap, this recording video, and also for the French session already organized 2 days ago. And I'll give you the final word, Christina, please, if you want to share something with the participants.
Thank you very much. Now, it was really amazing to see the level of interaction and the interests. So please, I think, the word is don't be shy. Try and go for it. Maybe when you see some of the numbers, it looks like it's very competitive, and it is. But I think you have to go and try, because even if you fail, there's always a lesson learned. There's always maybe new collaborations that come up in the way. So, you can try once, twice, 3 times if needed. But these efforts, I think they are not lost. And we really, really encourage you to have a look and benefit from this fantastic program. So best of luck.
Okay, thank you, Chris. May.
Thank you, Ahmed. I mean, I still see people asking how can they connect with us for future opportunities. I mean, as mentioned, you can really follow us on our social media platforms, follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to the flash notes to stay up to date. Or you can, if you have further questions, you can, of course, send us your question by email.
I already put the email, yourafrica@youraccess.net, okay, and your Access Africa link. So I think we can say bye-bye now, and see you soon, dear participants. We have a lot of events this year, and stay connected with us. And let's say bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, bye-bye.
Have a good day. Ciao.